is this. My idea is that a society is not only to promote physics in Europe, to promote the interest of physics in Europe, but also to promote the interest of Europe in physics, which means not to take care only of the problems inside the world of physics, but to promote the outreach of physics towards civil society. We need that because nothing like science has the power of, first of all, of helping the civil society to understand the problems we are dealing with and to understand that science is the only solution to this kind of problems. So global warming, climate change, everything can be solved hopefully with science. There is no other solution than that, but people have to be aware of that, and so that's why the Physical Society has to promote public awareness of the importance of science, and so on and so on.
Anything you would like to add? Just for us, it's all right.
Well, okay, it's all right for me too.
So my name is Günther Hasinger. I'm the Managing Director of the Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics in Garching. And I'm here at the EPS at the 40th anniversary celebration. I had the honor and pleasure to give one of the scientific talks at today's celebration.
So this is your first encounter with EPS?
It's clear, I mean, I know EPS for a long time, but I'm not a member myself. I usually kept away from learned societies, and so it is indeed my first official encounter to EPS today.
How do you feel?
And it's a great society, I think. It's really like a family, I have the feeling. They are working together since many years, and today was a very honorable event. I was very impressed, for instance, about the Portuguese Minister of Science and the fact that there is this very close connection between the physicists and the politicians, and I have the feeling that we are actually in a period where things are moving in a positive way. For many years, science was at a kind of decaying pace, and now since a few years all over Europe, I feel that things are going upward, that the governments realize that fundamental science, basic sciences are a very important element, and the European Union is funding it. And I think EPS, I learned about it, is playing a very important role in this game.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah?
Yes. Very good.
Yeah?
Very nice.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Is that all? You don't need more?
I want to add anything, but since you cannot have any anecdotes.
Anecdotes? No. I mean, I know a few people that are active in EPS personally, like Martin Huber, and he's always like a father figure of the whole story.
Yeah, my name is Maciej Kolwas. I am member of executive committee. Today is last day of my executive committee membership. I am former president of the Polish Physical Society, so I know EPS from several years. I think that EPS plays a very important role. It's platform of meeting of different scientists from different fields of physics, as well as from different countries. It's a little bit romantic organization, in a way that we meet not only on the business meetings, but also on social ones. It means it's building up society of physicists in Europe, and I think that it is very important. it's especially important during unification of Europe. It started earlier than unification of Europe because society is 40 years old, and it's very good because we smoothly prepared something field for unification of Europe. For us, physicists, Europe was unified a little bit earlier. So I think that society made a good job of preparation of common interest, common feeling, common friendship. Society means also friendships. It is very important that we are not only, that we have not only capitalist kind of contacts, but also friendship. In such a case, we are friends, we understand each other, we like or we hate another person. It's like in normal life. We must remember that physics is not only science, exact science, but it's also part of our culture, very essential part of culture, because our culture in a way is built up on science and technology, not only on arts like painting, dancing, thinking, but also on art of techniques and technology.
Je vous arrête tout de suite. Paula, est-ce que tu peux t'asseoir parce que
C'est mieux
d'en haut et donc du coup il faut être à même hauteur.
Oui, là il a regardé partout.
Bah, en haut aussi vers toi.
Oui, ok. C'est better.
Ok.
Yeah, to
Oui.
look for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do not. So, in a way, being part of our culture, we should be cultural. It means we should show friendship, not only business. It's the end of building up of something common, just to join to make common interest. It's, of course, selfish capitalism is very good, but in business it's making money. But in making something common, it is not always very good. So, as physicists, I think that we are doing well with it.
How?
Thank you. Do you have some anecdotes?
Oh, you know, there are plenty of anecdotes, but it's very difficult to say. For example, each president of society is different, and you profit from this. Its anecdotes are a very soft one. For example, Martin Huber, preparing World Year of Physics, behave very politely to everybody, and it's make a lot of very nice situations. But it's better to do not say any anecdote because it can hurt somebody.
It's all right?
Yeah.
For us it was okay. So you're a bit late.
Well, I'm Professor George Morrison. I'm at the University of Birmingham. I'm now emeritus professor, in the sense that means I have retired, but I still am active. I still have an office and particularly involved in EPS business. I have been science editor of Europhysics News. I've been the science editor, and I had my sort of little presentation last night for my years of service with the European Physical Society. Professionally, I am a nuclear physicist. I've spent years in the United States, and also, as I say, finally moved to the University of Birmingham in 1973. So I've been there for the most part of my, you might say, my life up to now. As far as the EPS goes, I wasn't in it at the beginning of the foundation. I think I really came in touch with it in the 1980s, when I was a member of the board of Nuclear Physics Board of the European Physical Society, I think for a period of something like 6 years. I also was elected, and stood and was elected as a member of the as a representative of the ordinary members of the EPS. That was in 1993. And at that time, at the meeting, the council meeting in Nice, at that time, I decided there and then to also stand for the executive committee, and I was elected and served for 5 years on the executive committee. And then from there was invited to take on the editorial board of the European Europhysics News, which is the journal of the EPS. And in 2000, I took over the editorship. There was previously a young man who was the editor, but there was a bit of he didn't see eye to eye with the European Physical Society, and I was invited to take over the editorship, and for a short time at that time, but it ended up by being editor till 2005, and then I was succeeded by Claude Sebin, and I became science editor, mainly responsible for the features. And now I'm also passing on that responsibility, and this is what the little event last night at the dinner was about. So that's a little potted history, and as I said, I wasn't involved with EPS at the beginning, but I knew many of the people that were, and I became involved, as I said, in the 1980s. So.
Is it a pleasant memory for you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons we came back from the States, we were sorely tempted at staying there, was because I really was very much a supporter of Europe, in the sense that Europe was coming together, and it's a curious thing to say perhaps, but it seemed to me more pleasant from the UK to go to a city or a conference in the rest of Europe, whereas in Chicago, where we were, you go to Cincinnati, you go to Cleveland, a bit unfair, but there's not too much difference in the city. So I really see myself as a European, and that was one of the reasons that we came back, because of the build-up of the European Union. And that was in 1973, as I said.
And now that the big step of big Europe is done,
what
could be a future role for EPS?
I think EPS is a very important role. It's one that it has played up to now, really coordinating European physics. And I think we've been blessed with a series of officers, particularly over the last few years as president, who have really been put in a great deal of time, and on behalf of the EPS, and their efforts are paying off. I mean, I think EPS is certainly recognized as the society. There are the individual societies, physical societies with the member countries, but it encompasses now even more countries, as you know, than the European Union. And I think this is mainly due to the officers of the EPS. And I think it is a very important role, and exercises that role very well.
How does it compare to the American Physical Society?
I think it stands in the same category now, and it's interesting that at the dinner last night and during the day we had a representative from the American Physical Society visiting with us, and I actually am a fellow of the American Physical Society as well as the European Physical Society and the ILP, the UK Physical Society, and I think its reputation in terms of what it does and the publications that it oversees it doesn't fall short of anything the EPS does. So I think it's a very important organization.
So my name is Luisa Cifarelli. I'm a professor of physics in Bologna. I'm, since January this year, the new president of the Italian Physical Society. May I say that for the first time, a lady. And of course, I would like to mention a few things concerning EPS, because the founder of EPS, has been an Italian that everybody knows, Professor Gilberto Bernardini, who was many things during his life, president of CIF, president of INFN, member of the Directorate at CERN, and this was when, in '68, the EPS was founded, thanks to his vigor, I would say. It is acknowledged everywhere, even in a nice article on the last issue of the Bulletin of the European Physical Society. And I think it should be recognized that this person, by the way, I also forgot to say that he was director of Scuola Normale Superiore in Pisa, among other things. And he was also an excellent physicist. So to be at the same time a promoter of a society like this and an excellent physicist is quite something. And this year the Italian Physical Society will publish a volume in honor of Bernardini, called Gilberto Bernardini and European Physics. So I think it will be printed next year, and surely in the framework of EPS it will be widely distributed. I should also recall other presidents of, Italian presidents of EPS. And one of them is Antonino Zichichi. And by the way, he was also the youngest founders among the 62 of EPS in 1968. So he was president, I wrote it down, from 1978 to 1980, and this was overlapped with his presidency of INFN in Italy. And he made quite important steps during those difficult years of EPS to open to Eastern countries, to launch new projects for EPS, in particular on fusion, not only on subnuclear physics, so on nuclear fusion and other things, astronomy and so on. And he did something interesting as well, to bring the EPS Executive Committee in Rome to meet the Pope. At the time it was John Paul II, and this was the first time when John Paul II spoke to the physicists about the question of Galileo Galilei, which is still an open debate, as everybody knows. But this event is recorded again on the bulletin, and it is going to appear on the next issue of the EPS bulletin. And then I would like to recall Ricci, Renato Angelo Ricci, past president of EPS in 1989 up to 1991, was Professor Gilberto Bernardini, who was many things during his life, president of CIF, president of INFN, member of the Directorate at CERN, and this was when, in '68, the EPS was founded, thanks to his vigor, I would say. It is acknowledged everywhere, even in a nice article on the last issue of the Bulletin of the European Physical Society. And I think it should be recognized that this person, by the way, I also forgot to say that he was director of Scuola Normale Superiore in Pisa, among other things. And he was also an excellent physicist. So to be at the same time a promoter of a society like this and an excellent physicist is quite something. And this year the Italian Physical Society will publish a volume in honor of Bernardini, called Gilberto Bernardini and European Physics. So I think it will be printed next year, and surely in the framework of EPS it will be widely distributed. I should also recall other presidents of, Italian presidents of EPS. And one of them is Antonino Zichichi. And by the way, he was also the youngest founders among the 62 of EPS in 1968. So he was president, I wrote it down, from 1978 to 1980, and this was overlapped with his presidency of INFN in Italy. And he made quite important steps during those difficult years of EPS to open to Eastern countries, to launch new projects for EPS, in particular on fusion, not only on subnuclear physics, so on nuclear fusion and other things, astronomy and so on. And he did something interesting as well, to bring the EPS Executive Committee in Rome to meet the Pope. At the time it was John Paul II, and this was the first time when John Paul II spoke to the physicists about the question of Galileo Galilei, which is still an open debate, as everybody knows. But this event is recorded again on the bulletin, and it is going to appear on the next issue of the EPS bulletin. And then I would like to recall Ricci, Renato Angelo Ricci, past president of EPS in 1989 up to 1991, and he was president of CIF at the same time. And he was the person who gave a new impulse to the nuclear physics division of EPS, and the author of the merging of the Il Nuovo Cimento letters with the Journal de Physique Lettres and the contribution from the Institute of Physics to create this nice journal that is now shown here as a background, and to which CIF is nowadays strongly contributing. We produce the journal in Bologna at the headquarters of the society, and we hope that it will be in the future very successful. Of course, the Italian Physical Society is very much involved with all the activities of the EPS nowadays. Also in one activity that has been launched by the present president, Professor Friedrich Wagner, and this activity is very timely. It concerns energy and environment. And the Italian Physical Society has organized a meeting in Varenna, which will take place in a week from now, where all the members of the Energy Working Group of EPS are invited and will present their views on this very important topic. And the Italian Physical Society will produce a thick report, 150 pages, that will be distributed afterwards, translated in English and distributed to, it is intended not only to be widely distributed among physicists, but also decision makers, media, and so on. So the collaboration with EPS is very tight and surely will continue. Thank you.
So my name is Ove Poulsen. I'm presently with the Engineering College of Aarhus in Denmark. I was formerly with Aarhus University, and I have worked also in the Technical University of Denmark. My recollection of EPS goes back approximately 20 years. I did not know about EPS before I was becoming involved. I'm a laser physicist, and my introduction into EPS was through the division on quantum electronics. I think it was in the late 80s that I started working in the board of the quantum electronics division. That was at a time when central EPS was very weak. That I remember in these days that we were always discussing in the division, why did we have EPS? Do we need EPS? The only reason that EPS was there was to take our money. That we wanted sort of as a division to get freedom to do our business. And then what is the situation today? The situation today is that that particular division is one of the strongest supporters of EPS. And why is this? What development have we seen over the last 20 years? I think the most interesting development is that physics in Europe has been extremely divided. Physics in Europe has been localized to national endeavors, and we have seen in the same period the European Union system grow stronger and stronger. We have seen also physics coming under severe pressure over the last 20 years. In the post-war period, physics was the Leitwissenschaft. This is not so any longer. Physics is under pressure We heard yesterday during the celebrations how Minister Gago was telling physics, you are not surviving unless you change your attitude. It's not good enough what is happening. And that was exactly what happened in these early days in quantum electronics, that we had this, my introduction to the system was through the conference business. That quantum electronics was a field, lasers, optics, not only of academic interest, but also to a high degree of commercial interest, of industrial interest. And in these early days, under the